It's starting.
Yes.
When you see immune, save your ammo. We'll wait for final. Here we go, immune. Reload.
Final stand.
Shoot him.
Wait.
He's immune still, he's still mute.
Shit.
There it is. Press well.
Okay, DPS. I have a grenade launcher.
Oh my god, this is it.
Oh, this is it.
Yes.
Yeah! Let's go! Let's go!
Yes.
Yeah! That's what I'm talking about.
What is going on, Guardians? Ember here with another one for you. I just wanted to show off that little bit of a contest mode clear we got this weekend. I think I did that on Saturday. It was a lot of fun. I had a great time. It took me about 19 and a half hours total just to get the clear. Did some LFG and things like that for the final group there on Nezarec, but regardless, it was a blast. I encourage anyone who hasn't done it before to give it a shot. Anyway, what I have for you today is a Void Warlock build. We're going to be featuring two of the raid weapons that I did get this last weekend. I got a Rufus's Fury auto rifle and a Nessa's Oblation slug shotgun. But before we get too far into it, let's all head down below this video. Absolutely obliterate that like and subscribe button. Don't forget to hit that bell to get all the notifications from any of the videos I drop on the page here. Head down into the comment section down below and let me know if this is the kind of content that you like to see. And without further ado, let's get to it. Alright, so like I said, we're using this Void Warlock build here. I do have the link to the previous build that I am using. It's going to be up at the top here. However, I did change one of the font of focus to a grenade kickstart on the gloves, so just be aware of that. So like I said, we're going to be using the Rufus's Fury auto rifle and the Nessa's Oblation slug shotgun. Let's go into the auto rifle here and we'll talk about some of the perks we have, and one of them in particular I'm pretty excited about. Let's start with the origin trait, however. Harmonic Resonance. Equipping multiple weapons from this set grants this weapon increased reload speed and handling. It also deals increased damage versus Tormentors, Lucent Hive, and Guardians using their supers. So kind of like a Vorpal weapon for the Guardians using the supers. I'm not sure exactly how much damage extra we're getting on Tormentors, Lucent Hive, and those Guardians. But you know, I'm sure anything really helps in those situations. Specifically, a couple of the perks that I want to talk about here are my random rolled traits here: Rewind Rounds and Adrenaline Junkie. So Rewind Rounds I'm specifically excited about on this auto rifle. Since it is a 720 RPM auto rifle, we're going to be chewing through our ammo reserves, and the magazine is pretty high because it is a rapid fire frame. We have 70 rounds in the magazine. I did throw a backup mag on there to bring it to 70, but with Rewind Rounds we're going to be getting roughly 50 to 60% of our rounds that we hit on enemies return to our magazine once it hits 0. So you'll see in the background gameplay, I'll be at 70 rounds, I'll shoot a full clip at a Hive Knight, I believe, and we'll get around 38 or so rounds back in our magazine. And I think I could even take it further. I have, I think, a clip where I get around 12 returned after that. So we're really bumping it up to well over 100 rounds in our magazine, and that just helps us to really be able to lay down the fire on really any kind of enemies, whether they are orange bar, yellow bar, or just a ton of random low tier mobs. You know, we really can make whatever work there. Let's go ahead and take a look at our Nessa's Oblation. This is a pinpoint slug frame, so we want to be doing whatever we can to aim for the head for the most part, especially on challenging enemies. We're going to be dealing a lot of damage there. And specifically the reason we're running Void is because of this trait right here, Repulsor Brace. Defeating a Void debuffed target grants an overshield. Now I know we could go here into our artifact and there is Volatile Flow. Picking up an Orb of Power grants your Void weapons volatile rounds. However, if this is a different season or something like that, it's a lot easier to get those debuffs on enemies if we're using a Void subclass, and we can really almost at will get those debuffs onto the enemies, giving us a 45 HP overshield. And that overshield can be refreshed if you keep killing targets that are, let's say, volatile You keep just killing all kinds of volatile targets, you're going to keep refreshing that Void Overshield, and we're using in this build the Devour perk, so we're not only getting a 45 HP Overshield refreshed on us, we're getting our entire health bar refreshed as well, so that's always super helpful. And so that's basically the build here that we're going for. Let's go ahead and check out some gameplay. Firstly, both these weapons have some great synergy together. This isn't necessarily just because they have the same origin trait, which obviously helps. That origin trait gives them a little bit extra damage versus some more challenging combatants, and it helps to increase the reload speed. I didn't really find that to be super noticeable with these two. Probably would be more noticeable if you're using one of the heavy weapons, the grenade launcher or the linear fusion rifle. You'll probably see some better returns off of using at least 2 or potentially even 3 of these weapons together. But that does help, obviously. I mean, really any little bit of buff will always help you, especially if you're using a shotgun where reloading is multiple times, because since you have, I think I have 8 rounds or something like that in the magazine of this weapon for this gameplay here. These weapons each do their jobs well, which helps to complement each other even more. The auto rifle being a rapid fire frame, you wouldn't think that the range would be too great on it. However, I was not really running into any issues with damage fall off or things like that. And since the reserves are so deep, if enemies are staying away from you for a long period of time, that's kind of a good thing for you. You don't have to reload that often, and they'll just sit there and take tons of damage. As far as the shotgun goes, we're going to be using it to clear large groups of ads, especially if you can get any of them with volatile on them. You know, if you get volatile rounds from the artifact by picking up an orb, or if you, say, throw a melee out and get them all volatile, it'll make it pretty easy to clear out large waves of them. And since it is a slug shotgun, dealing with high health enemies is quite easy. You're just going to aim for wherever their crit shot is, and it's going to pretty much take them out in 1 to 2 blows. Let's talk specific benefits for each of these weapons. For Rufus's Fury, I found it to be very stable, even with low recoil direction and moderate stability stats. It has a very high magazine, great for taking advantage of mag perks and fast reloads. The sight is also nice and clean, with relatively no dead zones. This helps you to maintain line of sight while aiming down long lanes. As far as Nessa's Oblation goes, volatile rounds from the seasonal artifact make it easy to gain overshields from repulsor breaks kills. It has clear and open sights, perfect for cleanly lining up headshots. I did have Focused Fury on this roll as well. It's not my favorite perk in the slot, we'll talk about that later. But it is useful if the crit spot on the enemy you're shooting is large enough to pump out lots of damage to. Overall, I would say the star of the show today would be Rufus's Fury. It's a fantastic auto rifle, it feels great, and it's just all around a good choice. Let's talk about ideal roles for both of these weapons. For Rufus's Fury, my ideal role is Hammerforged rifling, extended mag, rewind rounds, and either target lock or hatchling. I'll probably end up crafting 2 of these. Hatchling will be for my strand subclass, and the other one, target lock, is just a good all-around useful perk. My ideal Nessa's Oblation role would have to be Hammerforged rifling with Assault mag, repulsor brace, and then destabilizing rounds. Destabilizing rounds are going to be essential after this season when we no longer have access to volatile rounds from the artifact mod. If you get a kill with Nessa's, it'll spread the volatile debuff to the enemies around it, allowing you to quickly grab an overshield. And I really think that could be a go-to for many of us once we get into the Season of the Deep. And that's going to have to be it for me for today, Guardians. Let's go ahead and throw that meme up on the screen now. Go ahead in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think of both Rufus's Fury and Nessa's Oblation. I enjoyed using both of these weapons, and I'll be interested to see which one the community finds more useful. I'll look forward to seeing y'all back on the next one, and until next time, be without form, swift as lightning.